Hey, Eric.
How's it going, John?
Oh, it's going well tonight. It's going well. How about you?
Life is good. Life is good. There's been more moving outside on my deck. I actually have a deck now, not just a frame
Ooh, have you
for a
walked on
deck.
it?
There is, yeah. I've walked up, tested out the stairs, walked up on it. It's still missing some finishing touches, and it doesn't have any railing, so it's still a good, nice 20+ foot drop off the
Okay.
far end. So, and that's also the side that has the deck boards that aren't quite nailed down yet. But it's nice. I can now really visualize what it's going to look like. I'm really getting excited. They just started with the pavers this afternoon. So getting the pavers all going, and then I'll have it, then it will be almost done. Then it'll just be touch-ups, a few little plants and a few little things here and there. So
Sure.
I have been informed by the end of next week for sure.
For
So
sure. Ooh, that's confident.
yes, that seemed rather confident.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was excited.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Just in time to not be able to use it.
I was gonna say, yeah, I must say I disagree. I think you can always barbecue, even in the rain. Barbecues have lids.
I'm sure I will just out of spite, if not for nothing else.
Exactly. Exactly. So remind me though, do you
Uh,
have you don't have any part of that will be covered in the back, even a little bit?
no,
Yeah.
not
Because
yet.
I've got like
So
I have like 3 feet maybe of covered out my back deck, and so the
mm,
barbecue sits out there. My main problem is there's no lights out back. I mean, well, there's like a tiny little light. Maybe I could put in one of those like garage lights that's like super duper bright. Anyway, so it gets dark so early that by the time I'm done, with work or whatever, or normally in the
right.
winter when I get home, it'll be dark, and so barbecuing out there, I have numerous times either worn one of those headlamps, with the little LED light on it, and or just used the light on my phone to kind of see if the steaks need to be flipped over, or the burgers or the hot dogs or whatever.
Night
But
vision goggles. That's what you need. I'm
night
sure it's
vision.
$29.99 on Amazon.
Uh, yeah. Hmm. I'm trying to picture like if those use like infrared, it's probably like
Yeah, that's probably not going to help.
glaringly blue, or whatever the I guess blue would probably be cold, but yeah, anyway. Actually, I do need one of those.
St-
I need one of those things for the
the
beehives.
FLIR.
No, because you can yeah, the
Right.
FLIR things, because you can point them,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
but the ones that have the full on screen on them, not just the hey, this is what the temperature is, because you can
Yeah.
aim it at a beehive and you can see where the cluster of bees is, like in the winter. It's cool. Hypothetically, according to YouTube,
Hypothetically.
everything on YouTube's right. Um, anyway, that's funny. Well, I look forward to hearing how the deck completion goes. That's exciting.
Yes. I will be happy when it's been a long time yeah,
Hmm.
because I'm waiting for it to get done so I can start on my projects that I want to do, which I kind of kept off for myself to do. So,
Yeah.
but
One more week. One more week. It'll go fast.
I hope
It'll
so.
go fast. So, anything fun this last weekend?
I had some more fun with 3D printing. I think last week I talked about I have that roller for my air filter so that I can move it out from the wall and kind of set it in the middle of my office and have it run. And I'm now on the third version of this,
Okay.
because the last one I had 4 wheels and I just could not get it to not. One of the wheels was always off the ground and it would rattle when it ran. So I
Rattles
made
bad.
another version
Okay.
now. Yes, I made another version with just the 3 wheels, but I moved the wheels further out to the edges, and made it a little bit bigger, and added some lithium grease. So far, for the last 3 days now that I've been running it while I'm in the office at work, it has been functioning well, and I can push it and it doesn't fall over.
What did you add the grease to?
Where the plastic wheel on its little axle. So the wheel is a little rubber wheel and an axle. And then I put some WD-40 in the ball bearings where the wheel spins around. It's like one of those 360-degree spinning wheels.
Yeah.
So I put some WD-40 in with the ball bearings and some lithium grease on the axle where the... So it's not... which is fine because I don't want them to roll for speed. I want them to roll for smoothness. So that seemed to work.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, your 3D printer sounds like it's getting the work out. That's awesome.
It is, to the point where I have actually ordered some different types of material. I mean, mostly I've been printing with the PLA stuff because that's the easiest and safest and et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't smell. But I ordered some new different kinds because I've also been designing and printing myself some things for my truck. Some of the little plastic caps that go in the bed of the truck. They have been misplaced by someone who I'm pretty sure is not me, and I'm not even sure if they live in our house. But so I could probably go find them somewhere and just buy them, and it would be cheaper. But I'm having fun designing them, so I've been making some prototypes of those. And then what else? Oh, speaking of the barbecue, just to circle back to the barbecue, my boy and I have been. The nice thing about working from home, and depending on the day and my boy's lunch, I think I mentioned before, I take him. We go to lunch.
Yeah.
Well, even with school, we watched a Mark Rober video on Meatless. The Impossible Burger and the Beyond Meat.
Yeah.
And he went to see how they were made, and this
is Burger King.
So we said we should go try. You can get the Impossible Whopper from Burger King, and you can get the Beyond Famous Star from Carl's Jr. Those are your two options. So Beyond Meat is the company, and Impossible Foods, Impossible Meats. I don't know what the actual company is. It's Impossible is in their name. And we have decided that between the Impossible Burger at Burger King or the Impossible Whopper at Burger King and the Carl's Jr. Beyond Famous Star, we like the Impossible Whopper better. So if you're gonna try something meatless,
was this a blind taste test, or did you go to both go get two burgers at the same time and go like bite one, bite two?
No, last week we went to Beyond. We went to Carl's Jr. last week, and today, because Wednesday is the day they don't have class, they're just supposed to do homework, so his day is freer. So today we went to lunch and went to Burger King today, and so we just kind of said, do we like them or not? And it's not scientific whatsoever. I do think the Carl's Jr. one was a little bit less firm, a little bit smushier when you ate the burger than the Impossible Whopper.
Not selling it to me, by the way.
I know, but they were both actually really good. I would totally buy that again. And frankly, if I ever go to, I do not frequent Burger King or Carl's Jr. at all. That's not on my usual rotation.
Yeah.
But if I were to go there, I would totally get those again. They tasted fine.
Okay,
there you go.
I have not been tempted to try them.
Yeah.
What did we do for the weekend? I think so. It was a nice weekend. What?
Yes.
It was a nice weekend.
Very nice weekend.
It was a very nice weekend. We've been trying to knock off projects that are outdoor projects but need to be done before the rains come. So I've still got lots of stuff to. I've got an infinite list of projects, which is fine. But we got all of our blackberry. Basically, we've got these 2 berry lines for things that we've planted over the course of the last couple of years out in front of our house, and they're pretty long, quite long. But we went and we spent I think maybe 5 hours on Saturday, and then 3 or 4 hours on Sunday, basically pruning and tying up all the blackberries and the raspberries, and took the netting off the blueberries and weed-eated everything, and pulled out all the bad blackberries, the what is it, Himalayan blackberries that are the ones we don't want. Anyway, and it's so nice. It looks so nice. It's all prepped up, all ready for winter, which is nice. One task done. But it was nice to be outside. It's nice to be outside. Nice to be able to breathe unsmoky air.
Yeah.
I needed it. It was good. So, I threw a note in there. This is the same. This is the same place where I also planted 10. I think I planted 10 grapevines like last year, and they didn't do hardly anything last year. And then this year they actually took off, which is pretty nice. But all but 3 of them are dead, but the other 7 or so, or what would that be? Yeah, 7 are doing good. So I've got to now learn how to prune grapes. So I have. I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos. So have shears will attempt. But anyway, I'm excited. And we tried some of them actually, which I realized after watching YouTube videos that I should have just snipped off all the grapes from this first year, so that the plant would put more energy into growing, as opposed to giving us these really diminutive bunches of grapes. But but the nice thing was that we tried a couple of them, and we were like, okay, so these flame ones, they were crazy delicious. So I'm hoping that I can take some cuttings from one of those and use those to replace the 3 that died. And since we know that they're going to be super tasty, that'll be awesome.
There you go.
Yeah. So
bonus grapes.
I'd still say I have more of a brown thumb than a green thumb, but I'm trying with a willing heart and a lot of YouTube. I'm trying. It's
nice.
Fun, so,
all right. Well, I have a question for you, John.
Okay. What's your question here?
Have you patched your QNAP?
Well, I saw that you had posted this, so I did, but not before seeing that you put this in here. So
nicely done. Nicely.
Yeah. Although, yeah, the beeps that you heard as we were kind of getting notes together, that was the QNAP rebooting. Because I was trying to decide. When I saw this, I was like, so do I push go so I can say, yes, I patched, like a good person that I am, or do I just say, no, I have not, but I will. And I decided to try to push go. It won't take it that long to reboot. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, so I threw this article in follow up because I think we've talked about several this before, patching devices that you don't normally think of as your laptop or computer or wherever. So this is a NAS device, a QNAP, And apparently there is a strain of ransomware which is specifically targeting QNAP devices. And those are typically where people store all their photos or, digital movies, home movies, etc. It's a very nice type of device. And clearly it's interesting enough for attackers to go after that there is a ransomware specifically targeting the QNAP device. And unfortunately, it says there currently is no way to recover encrypted files without paying the ransom, if at least not yet. So, but it seems to be easy enough to fix. Just patch your machine and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, and don't open up any of the services on there. I mean, I'm trying to think of a reason that you would, but at least the way I use it is as a large external hard drive, and it is I love it. I like it a lot. I have a bunch of media on it. That's the main thing. I do have it as my local time machine backup, but I also have a cloud backup. I use Backblaze. All my important files are backed up locally to the NAS and then backed up to Backblaze. And most of them, like I use the iCloud drive for the documents folder. Yep. So most things get stored into a folder that is synced with iCloud. So that's I guess a third level of backup. And then for photos, I use I use iCloud Photos for storing all my photos in the cloud as well. So yeah, I should have 3 backups of everything, not including sort of the low res things that that are synced to the phones and stuff like that. But
right, I'm in the same boat.
Anyway, but yes, so I have now, as of an hour ago, patched my QNAP, and I should be better. All
right, virtual high five. Well done.
All right, man. How about a topic? What'd you bring me for a topic tonight?
All right, now we're all in trouble because we have turned a coffee maker into a ransomware machine, or we've added ransomware to a coffee maker, so you have to pay a ransom to be able to get your morning cup of coffee. It's a little bit of
Isn't that called a vending machine?
Touche. So
sorry.
Anyways, this is a researcher who just for giggles decided to go get a Wi-Fi enabled coffee machine just to see what they could do. And he examined the coffee maker. As soon as you plug it in, it starts broadcasting a Wi-Fi. That's a lot of times these headless or pseudo-headless IoT devices will broadcast, a Wi-Fi that you pretty much download an app to another device or go to a website or join that broadcast Wi-Fi network of the coffee machine.
Right.
And, then configure it. And then once you configure it, it stops broadcasting.
Yep.
Kind of thing. So he went and looked at it and found out, well, sure enough, you can connect to the coffee machine. There's no security or anything on it. And he looked at the mechanism for getting firmware updates. And apparently firmware updates for the device were also just passed through to the coffee maker from your mobile phone, your mobile device. And there was no encryption or authentication or code signing for the firmware either, which means basically you can write your own firmware. So this is not something, someone's just going to do on a whim, right? He pulled the firmware off, wrote some scripts to replace and slightly modify some of the strings inside the firmware and re-uploaded the firmware and discovered, hey, I can have my coffee maker, instead of say good morning, I can have it say other things. But the basic gist of the attack is, right, the limitations are, you have to be within Wi-Fi range of it to be able to to do the attack. But you can, if you have a beachhead somewhere else in the office, you can do that. Or if you can remotely tell the coffee maker, join it, or remotely tell the coffee maker to drop its connection to whatever the current, its physical, the Wi-Fi that it currently is connecting to, it will magically start rebroadcasting its own default Wi-Fi again to say, hey, I'm not connected to anything, connect to me and, run the setup.
Mm-hmm.
So for a joke, there's a YouTube video of a very annoying coffee maker that is playing beeping noises and yelling at people, and the only fix for it would be to unplug it. And again, this is just in general with all things IoT. If you decide to get a gadget, and even if you decide, I am not going to connect my Wi-Fi enabled gadget to my network because I don't want to use those features, it still might be accessible and broadcasting something that would be hackable. Of course, you need to be within it, within range, et cetera, et cetera. But we're putting more and more things inside of hardware.
Everything is connected.
Everything is.
Everything is connected. Everything is connected insecurely.
Yeah. The S in IoT is for secure. I did like he made one comment that firmware is the new software, which firmware is just software, but firmware is getting software. Easier and easier to accept. Is more and more accessible and easier and easier to manipulate. So good times.
Good times. Well, the irony. So this isn't directly related, I guess, but in a overprotective way, perhaps. Security the opposite way. So I saw a tweet this past week that was a guy's toothbrush that would no longer accept updates from his phone because his phone had been jailbroken. Even though his phone was no longer jailbroken because he had upgraded to iOS 14. But there was there wasn't info in the tweet to say what it was, but some remnant on his phone that it had been jailbroken in the past, and now his toothbrush, which he had also been attempting to hack or something along those lines, was now failing to update. So, yeah. I can't upgrade the firmware of my electrical toothbrush because I once did jailbreak my phone, and while that is no longer the case with running iOS 14, some files likely did remain so, and Philips locks me out. Oh, there's so much stuff that happened this week that we're not going to talk about, but one of the other things that is not on my list, but the XP source, seeing through this, I'm noticing the thing about the XP source code leak. I don't know if you saw any of that stuff this week. Windows XP source code was leaked, and people are like working on getting it to compile. Oh, gracious sakes. Fun. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, I am happy not having a connected toothbrush. Thank you very much. And I don't drink coffee. So, it is what it is.
So you're safe.
Well, I'm safe from those two particular things for the time being.
But you do have a Wi-Fi enabled grill, so I'm keeping an eye out I'm keeping an eye out for those kind of issues for you.
I do. Which I haven't used all summer. I need to. Anyway, I'm failing myself.
I would say, how'd you not grill all summer?
It has been a wild summer because we have been really busy, and it's ironic because we're at home. How are you not? In fact, okay. Here's my commitment. I'm going to grill something that I've grilled. I just haven't smoked something. So maybe I should. I should qualify that. I have not used my smoker all summer, which is the wireless one. Anyway.
Right.
Okay, what did I do for a topic?
All right.
I brought 2 topics. So the first one, there's actually a number of things on this, but this is I saw some quote. I don't have the quote on here. It was like, did you know that 9/11 services have been out in 14 Western states, and it's the 3rd most critical emergency of Monday? It wasn't even enough to make the front page, kind of thing. So, were you aware there was a 9/11 outage?
No.
Yeah.
911?
911.
I don't know. Is it 9?
You're like, wait, you said 9/11.
Like, wait.
Yes, 911. Sorry.
911 service. Okay. Maybe that's the new way to say it. I don't know.
911. Potato. I don't know.
It's late.
Now I'm going to have to go Google. Does anybody in the world say 9/11?
I was not aware that this had happened.
Well, that's the thing. I saw a tweet that was something along the lines of, 911 service has been out for I don't know that it said there 14 Westerns or 14 states, but and it hasn't even made the front page, because this was the same day that Azure was having its issues, which was causing wreaking havoc across many industries. And speculation was that this was maybe an Azure thing too, which
related somehow.
Well, the link that I'll put in here is to a Krebs article, which doesn't say that it's Azure, or actually even says, I think at the front, that it wasn't Azure, but there is no RCA actually out, and none of the companies aren't actually talking about what happened. And given what has happened to them for the last couple things, I can kind of see why. More about that in a minute, but anyway, so this is a Krebs article, and basically it said it points to 2 other two companies that are themselves kind of pointing fingers at each other, but the quote was, here's a couple quotes here from Intrado. On September 28th, our 911 service providers observed conditions internal to their network that resulted in impacts to 911 call delivery, reads a statement Intrado provided to county officials. And then from Lumen, at approximately 4:30 p.m., some Lumen customers, and Intrado is a Lumen customer, were affected by a vendor partner. So it's not their problem. It's a vendor partner event that impacted 911 services. Service was restored in less than an hour, and all 911 traffic is routing properly at this time. The vendor partner is in the process of investigating the event. Who's the vendor partner? It seems a little suspicious that it was at the same time
Intrado?
as Azure. Well, yeah, the vendor partner.
I don't know.
So the funny thing is, have you ever heard of Intrado or Lumen?
Not in this context. No.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Intrado evidently used to be called West Safety Communications, which I'm not sure I knew of, but Lumen is the new name for CenturyLink.
Well, CenturyLink didn't rename their name. They just spun this section off so that when it got in the news, it didn't get called CenturyLink. Or is there really a new name for CenturyLink?
I think. Well, the implication of this. Let me actually read the Relio thing. Both these companies are now operating under new names, as this would hardly be the first time a problem between the two of them has disrupted 911 access for a large number of Americans. Yeah, Intrado. The service provider referenced in Intrado's statement appears to be Lumen, a communications firm and 911 provider that until very recently was known as CenturyLink Incorporated.
I just went to CenturyLink's website, and it says CenturyLink's enterprise business is now called Lumen.
There you go.
So CenturyLink They'll
So
keep
maybe
that
they
name
did a whole
for
consumer enterprise
residential,
thing.
I guess. Consumer, yeah. There you go. Stuff you didn't need to know.
Well, but so, but why would they perhaps not disclose what was wrong? So evidently, if I guess the FCC is the regulating agency of 911 services, and if they have downtime, they have to pay big fines or something. Because the end of the Krebs article, well, so, the top half of the Krebs article is about, hey, there was an outage and some sort of suspicions, but not a lot of hard facts. I mean, there was a Lumen service page that had, showed the interrupts, and they obviously had a press release, but they weren't saying anything. But in 2019, it said, these two companies agreed to pay $575,000 to settle an investigation into an August 2018 outage that lasted 65 minutes. So 65-minute outage, $575,000 fine, which it said was the result of a West safety technician bungling a configuration change to the company's 911 routing network. So make a configuration change and you fat finger something, here's a $500,000 fine. But then the other one was so this is older. So in 2014, it says the software responsible for assigning code. So every time you call 911, you get a call code, basically.
Right.
The software responding for assigning the codes maxed out at a preset limit. The counter literally stopped counting at 40 million calls. As a result, the routing system stopped accepting new calls, leading to a bottleneck and a series of cascading failures. So that sounds like a software coding problem. So
that sounds like an odd number to arbitrarily choose.
Right?
I mean, I would have expected, like a 65,535 or some.
Or if it's going to be a 6-digit number, 7-digit number, 8-digit number, 40 million? Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's 99,999,999, I get it. I mean, I don't really get it because that's not how computers actually care about numbers.
It makes more sense than
computers
40
don't count
million.
in tens. But anyway, but the crazy thing is that for that outage, and I didn't, if it said how long of an outage that wasn't sure, but the FCC fined them, the two companies, $17.4 million.
Ouch.
So one presumes that they make a lot of money in the good times to sort of account for those sorts of failures, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So anyway, that was my first thing, because I didn't hear or see much about this either. I did see a couple of tweets, and I did see the Krebs article, but didn't hear a ton of other stuff about it. But again, I think it was overshadowed by the other stuff that was happening on Monday.
Right.
All right. And then my second article is a where is it? Oh, there we go. Objective-C. So I've posted articles from here before. And this is another lovely, 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 but very long article about a piece of commercial spyware. And basically, tools, strategies for just, taking a look. What's it doing? What is it? And this is a piece of Mac OS spyware. So it's called FinFisher FinSpy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, FinSpy. Sorry, I don't know why, but I see FinFisher too. So sometimes threat intel is hard. Sometimes folks leave all FinFisher samples exposed on a web server. So anyway, this article walks through, deconstructing a piece of spyware, and it is called FinSpy is a commercial spyware suite produced by the Munich-based company FinFisher. Since 2011, researchers have documented numerous cases of targeting human rights defenders, including activists, journalists, and dissidents, with the use of FinSpy in many countries, including Bahrain, Ethiopia, UAE, and more. So there's a link from this article into an Amnesty International's article, but that's kind of a little bit less technical. So this is kind of the technical article. So anyway, this is I really like this because it's cool for, you know, both seeing how the malware / spyware is attempting to evade detection, I guess, and so and what it's trying to do, and also just, you know, just looking at the commands that the this guy is using. What's his name?
Patrick Wardle.
Yeah, is using to download things. So, you know, so like I'm not. It's funny. I've been using a Mac for a long time, but I don't do a ton of Mac-y things on it. Like, I never mount disk images manually. I never, not never, but I rarely look inside application bundles. I don't, other than playing around, write Mac apps, etc. But anyway, so what are some of the things that were cool on this? So, you know, verifying signatures using CodeSign is an interesting thing. And then if you look inside the application bundle, you know, most people probably don't know that if, you know, that a .app, which is something that you install on a Mac, is actually a folder that has a bunch of things inside it. It's kind of a package. So in this particular case, for example, inside the package, there's a hidden log folder, .log folder. And that's actually where another application and installer is resides. And the other thing that has a whole bunch of info sort of at the top level is the plist file, which is basically a file of name value pairs of configurations, basically, or info about the application. Let's go ahead and scroll back a bunch of this stuff. But once he extracted it, then he was able to use some, you know, basic Unix tools like strings to look at the executable, and see what's in there. So, for example, I'm trying to find where that was. There you go, strings. So there's strings inside there like Parallels, VirtualBox, VMware. Looking for ptrace, Python, etc. So clearly it's looking for things like anti-debugging. So ptrace is a way of process trace, looking at what a process is doing. Virtual machine detection. You know, if you're trying to look for, are you running inside Parallels, VMware, VirtualBox, you might be trying to evade running in a VM where the host OS has superpowers against you. Python scripts, kernel extensions, persistence, because there's some stuff that is doing launch control, etc. Mm-hmm. And then since it's Objective-C, class dump is not something that I've ever used before, but you can use class dump to extract embedded Objective-C classes, which gives him function names to maybe look at. So things like unload, kernel extension, unload agent, load agent. There was somewhere in here, ask user permission, which was kind of funny because later on it says that, you know, basically this spyware tries to run a whole bunch of exploits to try to get root escalation. But if all of the embedded ones fail, which they will all fail on a modern version of macOS, because all of the vulnerabilities in this particular version have all been patched. If it fails to gain root, silently, it just pops a dialog and says, this application is trying to do something and lets the person try to enter their password. So,
right. Yeah.
some percentage of the time, so I'm sure people will just, oh, what? Okay, my password, whatever. And
sure, whatever.
There you go. So, and then I guess one of the final funny things in here is all the way down to like, what's the kernel or what's the rootkit that it's basically doing in there? And the rootkit's just trying to patch the process list to basically hide its process. So,
right.
Anyway, this is a super long article, super interesting, more on the technical side for, just kind of looking at what a researcher is doing to figure out what the code, what the code's doing.
Step-by-step breakdown of some Mac software.
Yeah. So anyway, I just liked this. It was cool. All right, that's probably enough though. I don't know what else to say about it. It's there's too much to like read. All right, how about something fun? Would you bring me fun this week?
My fun this week was, did you see the Amazon announcements over the past week? Amazon came out with a bunch of their new things.
I did not pay a super much attention. I did see this drone though.
So Amazon, their Ring home security service. I have Ring cameras. I have the Ring doorbell. So I'm kind of in on the Ring thing. And now I'm unsettled by that rhyme there. I'm in on the Ring thing.
The Ring thing.
Amazon now has a surveillance drone to add to their Ring capabilities. And essentially, this is a tiny drone that you have installed inside your home. And the idea behind this is it will turn itself on and fly around your house. It's kind of like a Roomba for the air. It will fly, I will be curious to see how it actually functions. Does it just kind of get up periodically and go, check the things? The video seems to imply that if someone is trying to break into your back door, it will get up and fly to the back door and take video of the person in the back door. I don't know how that would work, but this looks, well, and as you would expect, there are people who are very excited about this and people who are scared to death about this.
I did not see a lot of ambivalent people. I must say.
No. I don't know where I fall on this one, to be honest, quite yet, because I showed a couple of people at work. About 4 years ago, I had been pushing around this idea at the office about, hey, we should figure out a security feature for a drone. It was when I was getting into drones as well. The thing that is now gathering dust in my closet. Was I thought it'd be cool to have a drone that would fly around your house, kind of like a Roomba, but inside the home. And yeah, I think my initial idea was to do temperature sensor and air quality readings. Just every once in a while get up and fly around the house and do that. But clearly it could have a camera. It could have anything it wants on it. So there you go. My something fun is... read this article. I tried to pick an article that was, because there's a bunch of them, that talked a little bit more about the, not just the technical aspect, some of the concepts and ideas behind surveillance technology and how would you actually want to have this in your house. And you're asking people who are already apparently willing to have cameras inside their homes that are fixed in a spot. Does the fact that this camera can fly around, is that much different? So it's my think about this something fun, I guess.
Yeah.
Which side of the fence are you on?
I guess I'm a little bit of a hypocrite because I have the tube devices here and I have... 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 of them. So, because I have one one in my office, one in the kitchen, and then each of the boys have one in their bedroom, and I've got one out in the barn. So, because I have to say, it's very convenient to say, hey, Dingus, play, music.
Right.
Oh, and, we use it for controlling lights and lots of things like that. So, okay, to that extent, I'm not one of the people that's like, oh, heck no, they're listening to you all the time. But I also don't have any cameras on the inside of my house. And I cannot, I'll be Bill Gates, 640K is enough for anyone. I'm not sure at what point in time I will have one of the, something along these lines in my house. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That day is not this day.
I think this falls in my one of my favorite quote buckets, along with most of the cool features and stuff you see in these IoT devices. They fall into my Jurassic Park quote from Ian Malcolm, the chaos theory guy, that people or engineers, in this case, scientists, are so preoccupied with whether or not they could do something, they didn't stop to think about whether or not they should do something. So I paraphrase the quote a little bit. But I really like that quote. It is one of my favorites. That's going to be on my tombstone.
I like that quote a lot too. Yeah, it's like think of the repercussions. But okay, well, I'll do my something fun pretty quick, I think. Because I have been continuing to play Civ 6. This is the type of game that I like to play. If I've got just 15 minutes or an hour to play, I can't play a whole game. It's fine, but I can sit down and I can take some turns. And I'm a builder. I like building games. So things like Civ, totally, it's a 4X game. I love that kind of stuff. But they have now got this new, they're on the subscription bandwagon.
Everybody's on the subscription bandwagon.
I don't even know what I pay them a month. I should probably know that. But I was like, yep, sign me up. So I don't know. It's probably $10 a month. Everything seems to be either $4.99 or $5.99. Or sorry, $4.99 or $9.99. But anyway, they call it the New Frontier Pass, and every month they're releasing a patch, basically, or a kind of a mini expansion. And then evidently at the end of or some period of time, they'll bundle them all up and they'll sell them. If you haven't been a subscriber, they'll sell them and you could just buy the full expansion pack or whatever. But, every month they're releasing something new. And it might be a new leader or a new game mode, which is kind of cool. And I've been loving it. And the things that they've released the last couple of months have been fantastic. And both of my boys and I have been playing when I can get them to sit still for a game, which has been a non-zero amount of time. It's been good lately for that. Right. And so I'm very much enjoying the New Frontier Pass and the fact that I can get vampires in Civilization. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, that's my something fun. All right, man, we should call it a show. It's getting late.
Yep. Have a good night, John.
I'll talk to you later, Eric. Bye.
All right. Bye.